Good morning, Marco.
So again, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Today.
Topic of the day: upside down tomato planters. Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Basically, what we're doing is we're going to be drilling some holes in the bottom of this bucket, planting a tomato plant, and then filling this with soil and hanging this in a space where it has access to sun and is protected from the wind, and we can actually reach the tomatoes. What we need to do is we need to put a hole in the bottom which will take our tomato plant. So we have our tomato plants here. We've got a drill, and you can see you want to where you can put this into the bottom without damaging the root ball too much. What we have is we've got a piece of cardboard, and we'll cut a hole in the cardboard. Yeah, so basically just cut a slot with a little hole in it for the trunk. Now this is going to stop the tomato plant from going off, and as the tomato plant grows, this will start to decompose and degrade and allow the trunk to grow to its full size. Okay, we take the drill, put about a 1 inch or 3 centimeter hole in the bottom. Check that your tomato plant will go through nice and easily. It needs to be a little bit bigger, huh? And then you need to put 6 little holes around it. Now this helps with air circulation. Now if you don't have a tool like this, a hole saw, then you can just use a normal drill or even a sharp knife to actually make the hole in the middle. So as you can see here, we have our 6 holes in the bottom, and we need to duplicate that in the top, yeah, to allow more air circulation into the system. So remove all the excess plastic. And then, now this one, again, this is one of our old chlorine buckets from the swimming pool. You can buy, or you can recycle old type of paint buckets, things like this. Just make sure you clean them well before you use them. Okay? Now another advantage of these, if you're in an urban environment and you're in an apartment or something like this, if you do move, yeah, you can actually take this with you, and you can just carry it anywhere and just put it back up in another location, because of course tomatoes are perennial plants, so they should keep on growing quite often.
Yeah, I mean they are in our environment, in our weather, they last 1 year, but yes, you can keep like growing them even almost all year long.
That's it. So the next thing we have to do is soil preparation. One of the harder things with container growing is keeping the water balance correct. So with tomato plants, it's important to have a light soil that will keep a nice balance of moisture within it. Because if it's too wet, the roots are going to rot and the plants are not going to do so well. So primarily you want to use more of a potting compost than actually mixing it with normal soil. What we're doing, because of course we don't have a lot of access to potting compost at the moment, is we're just mixing it lightly with the normal soil, but around the main base of the root we're just going to use the pure potting compost soil. Now in most places you can actually buy compost,
Yeah,
which
big
is
bag.
specifically made to benefit tomatoes. And this system actually works really well, apparently, with cherry tomatoes and Romania tomatoes. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put the tomato plant in. Okay. So, I hold the tomato plant through the hole. Marco here will take the cardboard.
Cardboard.
And that's going to hold the tomato plant in place. So the next thing we need to do is find somewhere to hang it. We want to have a good balance of sun and also shade. So it also needs to have quite a strong hook. So what we're going to do is this particular one we're going to hang up on a wall hook. It gives a lot of space for the plant to have movement to grow both directions. Okay. We want to take the potting compost and start just to fill. Make sure it's broken up, and it wants to be moist. Don't use dry compost, use moist compost.
But the soil in here in Gozo it's quite good because it has a good texture and also contains some sand that is really useful for like the drainage of the water. So we still can now add some of the local soil that is really good. If you've got like a lot of clay in your soil, it's better to put like more compost soil in especially in the first layer in contact with the roots.
Marco, how full do we aim to fill it?
3/4. I think it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
So you fill the buckets about 3/4 full. You don't need such a big bucket as this. This is actually a particularly large one, and it just happens that we did have a smaller one, but when we tried to fix it, it broke, so we can't actually use this bucket anymore. This one we're using it's actually something that I changed in my aquaponics system, and this is large enough to take 2 tomato plants.
Yeah, the cherry tomato plants.
So what we've done is we've filled up the layers in the bottom. We've put potting compost at the bottom, a mixture of potting compost and Gozo soil in the top. And now we're going to add more potting compost. And this one we're going to plant. And again, using a little piece of cardboard, we actually cover the whole. And that will stop the soil from falling out of the actual hole itself. And this way, in one bucket, we're actually growing 2 tomato plants.
We've got some water now, so let's water. As we said, we used like already wet compost mix and soil, so we just need to put some water to let the roots just stick with the soil and with all the bucket together, so we will not have like air in between the soil around, and that's it, not that much we need.
And the last thing we do is to put the lid on. And with the lid on, it's job done.
That's it.
So that's it. How to do an upside down tomato plant.